Hi Ian, good session yesterday. Hope you found it helpful. Just going to run through a couple of things that we discussed there towards the end of the session. In terms of your actual swing, as you discussed, or as we mentioned, you were slightly on the old-fashioned style of swing, but to be fair, that's when you sort of started playing golf, and therefore that's going to be kind of what you know. But generally speaking, setup was very, very good. A little bit rounded in the posture. That's something we're going to look at and try and get that back a little bit straighter, which will certainly help your body to rotate. As we discussed, when you took the club back, we had a bit more of a slide with the lower half. So we look at the sort of the right hip here now. As the club goes back, we can see your right hip sort of sliding into that right knee kind of moving towards and through that blue line, and a lot of leg movement now here with that left leg. So with that amount of movement here now, your stability is going to be lost. Your shoulder turn, as we said, is going to be very, very steep, and that's going to put a lot of pressure now on the lower back. Now there's some stiffness there, as you mentioned. It's going to put a bit of strain on there when you start playing more and more golf now. So from a sort of health perspective, we're going to try and get that back a little bit straighter. And the focus then as we take the golf club back now is a little bit more, the hips are going to be rotating a bit more around you and swinging a bit more. That's what we call a flatter plane in terms of the swing. So if we can think about sort of swinging that right hip rather than sliding into the wall, the blue line in this case, that right hip's going to move away from there and then back down and through. It's just going to give you a slightly more stable base to swing from. You can see at this position here now, because of that slide on the way back, your low point now is behind the golf ball, which is going to cause you to do a few shots ground first, obviously hitting the mat there before the ball, and that's going to affect obviously your direction and your distance. So if we can work on that hip movement going back, get a slightly better posture, and try and feel a bit more kind of hip rotation with that right leg sort of turning back rather than sliding so much, I think that'll certainly help your swing go forward. Now what you will find, as we said, when you take the sort of the slide out of your backswing going this way, as you came through the ball, the lower half wasn't going to work quite so well. So I want to try and make sure we get that belt buckle, as in this image, through the target. But certainly when you're thinking about your lower half not working in a certain way, it will tend to stop working completely for the whole swing. So it will take a bit of practice. Work on that hip movement and then practice that movement we showed you at the end there, where you put the club on your toe and just rotate your hips and your belt buckle round towards target. So that'll become more and more familiar over time. But I hope that makes sense. Any questions, obviously feel free to give me a shout, and I'll see you soon.